Welcome aboard passengers, Mega Sim here. August update part 2 is now here. So let's have a look at it together. So I've just got home and I've managed to wangle being able to look at this together with you and not have to wait till later, like yesterday where I did come home but went out again and had to do other stuff. Anyway, let's start going. It's seconds out, round 2. If you did miss part 1, check out yesterday's video, and yesterday's link featured detail on the routes that are going to be included with Train Sim World 3, as well as other bits you expect to find on a regular roadmap. If you haven't watched it already, look at the announcement video, loads of information with JD and Matt. So today, talking about brand new features coming to TSW3, getting an insight from the teams who developed them. Let's get started. So, lots to unpack. New features making their way into Train Sim World 3. So let's get the team to tell us a little bit more about things that they think we're going to enjoy. To make navigation easier, these are split into sections. Dynamic weather, updated lighting, visual effects, training center, audio, and characters. I know it's audio, but you know, I'm weird. We'll go into much more detail with all of these and showcase them in upcoming articles, videos, and live streams, but appetites suitably whetted with this. So dynamic weather. So technically been a part of scenarios since Train Sim World 2's launch. As we know, we had the LGV Méditerranée that had like the first scenario where it had different weathers throughout the route. But Train Sim World 3, this brings this dynamic weather into the world of timetable mode, allowing us the opportunity to have a different experience every time we drive. Keep us on our toes, as the next shower is only a matter of time away. So once we become familiar with a route, it can sometimes start to feel a little too routine when undertaking timetable services. They've always sought to vary the experience a route offers through scenarios where adverse weather conditions can create additional challenges. But again, once you've played that scenario, you know what's going to happen. So changes in weather whilst we're operating our service has long been requested by the community, and Dovetail do agree that the addition of dynamic weather patterns will remove the sense of the routine service. Sorry, let me get rid of that coin. While we still offer the fixed weather option for those who prefer those conditions, the addition of dynamic weather should greatly aid the sense of immersion we already get from Train Sim World. And here we go, a really good shot of the southeastern Javelin, the 395. Looks like this is in St Pancras, London St Pancras. Funnily enough, this is the platform that I was on yesterday. So yeah, that's really cool that we're on there. If this isn't St Pancras, I'm very sorry, but it just looks like it with the flat roof, because St Pancras kind of starts further back. And this kind of looks a bit like the EMR stuff as well. And there's the front of the train there. And look at that rain. That rain looks good. Look at the flooring. Look at the reflections of the signals. The reflections on the train itself. Really good. So, Dovetail are still trying to be as realistic as possible. And highly unlikely we'll go from broad sunshine to a blizzard. But it is plausible for cloud cover to start to build before a few drops of rain to occur. Similarly, if setting off in the middle of a torrential rain, it's now possible that the line starts to dry over time. The entire purpose of this edition is to give us more to react to. Now, if this kind of a challenge appeals to you, you'll select the month in which you're operating your service and be treated with weather that you will need to adapt to. For more favourable conditions, summer is your friend. To increase the challenge, try winter and watch those skies. Okay, volumetric skies. Let's watch the skies. The skies fills half the screen most of the time we're operating trains. So it's been something that Dovetail have been trying to improve as much as possible since even the original launch of Train Sim World. Whilst new skyboxes have helped, With immersion, in recent times, they wanted to do something altogether more impressive. Volumetric Skies. So, the upgrade to 4.26 Unreal Engine last year brought the opportunity to use their new volumetric sky system. So this brings true 3D clouds to the skies rather than 2D textures that we're historically used. Investigating the possibilities, they became more and more excited at what could be achieved, and it fast became one of the priorities for TSW3. The technical art team spent a lot of time rebuilding the whole sky and environment to bring in the UE4 cloud system, then undertake a lot of additional work making a more in-depth core UE4 game engine changes to fix a number of display issues, optimizing how the system works, so they could bring this whole system to Gen 8 platforms as well. So have a look at this with the sky. That looks lovely. Look at those ICE ones. DOS there as well. ICE 3. Oh, is that an ICE 3? No, I think that's an ICE 1 as well. But yeah, look at the gorgeous sky, the sunset. The clouds look realistic. They don't look Toy Story like, but they are realistic, aren't they? You know what I mean. You got a friend in me. Then you've got those clouds here. Look at that. That does look really realistic. ICE 1 there. Weird that they've kept the scenario tags in there. It would have been nice if they'd taken the image without that, but maybe it's just to kind of tell us that those scenario markers are still in there. So as well as the clouds themselves, part of the project that was worked on was how to bring them to life by casting shadows on the ground. Felt it could create a more varied experience, add more immersion to the journey. If you saw clouds not in the sky but casting shadows on the ground, well, that's true. Previously, the environment would simply dim the entire ambient light based on the state of the cloud. Now, as you drive, you'll go through light and shadow depending on the state of sky above you, which makes a tremendous difference. And you can see that here. Look, the light and then the dark here of the clouds. That's nice. The Köln pass there. So to make reflections and general ambient light match a constantly evolving scene, time of day, changing, skies are moving, train is moving, they had to have a system in place which would periodically capture the scene to power things like ambient light reflections. Whilst that meant that the general scene always kept up, it did result in sudden transitions if the difference was a lot compared to the previous capture. And that's why you would suddenly get the scene getting darker or lighter periodically. So they've updated that now. So that's what we used to have. They've updated how this works with real-time skylight. And this allows the updates to happen far more regularly, keeping the differences much smoother, avoiding sudden transitions. It also means lovely clouds in the sky should match up more closely with what you see in the reflections in the window. Oh, that's interesting. So the reflection in the window could actually show you clouds. That's very interesting. Oh, I like the sound of that. So, new lighting. New weather, new skies, need new lighting. So, it's not an easy task. Hopefully, they're going to be able to show us more from Train Sim World 3 gameplay, because we'll recognise the vast difference that this makes to playing the game. So, alongside the clouds, the team wanted to make sure there was a big update to lighting. It had been built around a more visual, this looks good approach, literally configuring lights based on their visual look until it looked like it was alright. But that came with challenges, the sheer amount of things that can impact lighting, consistency, subjectivity. It doesn't even consider that when approaching problems, the underlying issue could be one of a number of different things. So while you can apply a number of fixes to correct it in the scene you're looking at, you can then find it doesn't look ideal in other lighting conditions. Now, this approach has been a challenge for the whole team to deal with, and that's why it was one of the main reasons that the technical artists wanted to address that. And it has been by far one of the biggest challenges for TSW3, involving completely scrapping the entire lighting system, starting from scratch. Doing so has enabled the team to build a new system that uses realistic PBL, physically based lighting system. So let's have an example. So this is London St Pancras on Train Sim World 2. There's the 395022. and another one over there. And we've got this lighting here. You see the lighting with the lamps there, and then the sky there, and a couple of shadows here, there, and everywhere. Now this is exactly the same time. And look at that. Look at the shine. Look at the lights. They're not as apparent there. They blend in realistically. Got the shadows of the people there, really nice there as well. Yeah, that's a good difference, isn't it? Go back to that. Go back to this one. Yeah, that is a lot better, isn't it? Now they've been able to take real world data on how bright various light bulbs are, how bright a station should be, match that within the game. Looking at intensity values for the sun, train headlights, platform lights, combine them together to make hopefully a huge improvement. The result is brighter brights, darker shadows, better contrast and colours, allowing the Unreal's eye adaptation feature simulates the iris opening and closing in light and dark to work much better. So we'll find our eyes adjusting virtually to the darkened tunnel so we can see better. Then a light flare will hit you as you exit the tunnel, your eyes readjusting again moments later. So it is really cool. Have a look at the announce stream to see that video. But as you can see, look, you can see quite a lot in the dark, and you can see very little when it's light because it's adjusting to the light as you come out of the tunnel and go back in. It's, yeah, from what I've seen on the eye adaptation, it is so good. Just being able to see that, you know, like you feel you do it with your own eyes when you go into somewhere dark. It's virtual, so it does feel a little weird, but it's so cool when you see it doing it, going, you know, going dark, then light, then coming down. It's good. So it has required extensive work, modifying the core behaviours. Light level inside some trains were somewhat darker than the scorching sun outside. So the standard eye adaptation brightens the scene to cope with that darker cab interior, blooms out the outside of the cab. New behaviour to cope with this situation. So the best effect depending on what we're playing with, you know, what we're trying to look at, what train, where we are, and the results are good so far. But they have identified an issue where it would get stuck, and the player to look at a bright or dark area for a moment to trigger it to reset. And the solution for this was ultimately to be found in the code base. So they've brought that fix forwards into Train Sim World 3 as well. Okay, so there is stuff that's issues, but they are being fixed. So there is Train Sim World 2 again at London St Pancras. What is this? That's kind of a reflection there. But looking at that at the same day, look at that. Look how realistic that looks. That's decent. I like that. Even look at the building in the background. Look. Totally different. The last major challenge was considering the compatible add-on collection, the Preserve collection, but we're now calling it Train Sim World 2, Train Sim World compatible add-on collection, which all have their in-cab screens, the train lights and so forth, so all tuned in for the old lighting. It's a non-trivial task to upgrade routes and trains to the new system, but Dovetail know players will still want to bring their TSW3 trains onto TSW2 routes and TSW2 trains on TSW3 routes, so they have to come up with a solution. So whilst TSW compatible content will not receive this new PBL lighting, the system will detect various types of light and automatically adjust them to fit the lighting system they're running in. Whilst this won't always result in perfect lights, it will mean that the entire collection is cross-compatible on day one. Next bit, Training Centre. The all-new Training Centre with Train Sim World 3. Why is Training Centre spelt in American English when Dovetail is a UK English company? Simply put, there are a lot of countries that speak American English more than UK English, so Dovetail are all their documentation and the game is in American English. Hence, Training Centre. Okay? Training Centre, our one-stop shop for exploring the world of trains. The freedom to test and try out all our trains before we take them onto their respective routes. Think of it as a bonus free roam. Can't wait to see how we interact with this. I can't wait to see this in more detail because I've seen bits of the training centre, but it's going to be huge. So what is Training Centre? Built from scratch. New route is specifically designed to teach the operation of trains and enjoyment of Train Sim World, providing a serene place to explore at our own pace, both on and off the trains. So features. Found all over the site are various benches and seats, which are interactive, allowing us to sit back and simply enjoy the view. There's a nature reserve. Take a walk throughout the environment, make discoveries. Access all. Accommodate all types and sizes of trains using the scenario planner. What are we going to test? I don't know. We'll wait and see. The collectible map is not just an additional object, but a guide to help orientation and exploration. Not only are seats interactive, but ladders are too. Oh. Climb up a ladder onto a roof of some sort. That's nice. We love taking screenshots of trains, so the world has been designed to make trains as photogenic as possible. Located at Central Square, the training centre building is open to all, from far and wide. Beautifully crafted, high-tech and modern. Why do we need a training centre? Well, it's designed to absorb much of the tutorial gameplay going forward. Any long-standing enthusiasts of TSW franchise will know that learning how to operate and interact with the world has been repetitive. Look up, look down, look left, look right. Oh, it's grinding your gears. It's not great. By combining all those requirements into one place, there's the possibility of reducing that repetition significantly. However, some training will continue to take place on individual routes that require and feature unique operations. A lot of focus has been given to on-foot exploration and interaction. So trains play a huge part, but the world is bigger than you might think. So they put particular emphasis on the aspect of Train Sim World. So how was the route developed? Well, having evaluated many proving grounds around the world, they settled on the Vergberg Vilverdenvorth Test and Validation Centre, it's in UK English, as a great provider for a lot of the project goals. To start with, the track was laid. Then, following many conceptual ideas and discussions, the artists began simultaneously developing the central depot buildings and the wider site environment. So we got some nice drawings there, almost as good as my writing. You got your map. Look at that. There's the map and little bits about, the different areas of it. You've got the training centre map. Look at that big loop, and then the bits coming off, and then all the bits to stay there, and a loop there as well. That's metal. Yep, that's red. That's concrete. Yep, that definitely looks like my writing, doesn't it? It's not, though, I promise. And then something that looks like it comes from an Olympic stadium. There you go. So whilst the preservation crew have much experience from working on many existing TSW routes in their varied environments, the specification of the training centre stipulated that it should not be a direct copy of the real world location. So it required the team to reinvent areas to provide better provide the environment that we wanted, or they wanted. Look at that. Look at the rocks there. So this is what we were seeing on the 24-hour stream. It was like, what is this place? It can't look like the original, so it's looking totally different, and they've been able to utilise their imagination to create something decent. The route also gave the team a chance to expand on technology developed during other projects. Many have seen, such as the rats running under New York, the signal box over the tracks at Finnentrop, and the firework displays above. Oh wait, some of our projects haven't been released yet. Ooh. Rats running under New York, signal box over the tracks, fireworks display. There's some new features that are coming. Look at that. That's gorgeous. That looks realistic. So why should I be excited? Am I excited? Well, let's find out. Training Centre is the first ever free roam route for Train Sim World. While there are some areas closed off due to ongoing or future development, a vast majority of the route, including all the trackage, is completely open to be explored. It even has off-the-rails mode permanently enabled. The long switching lines of rail yard, The long switching lines and rail yards found along the middle of the site connect the small tram testing area. Why is there a tram testing area? With the medium-sized metro loop that is great for practicing those quick start-stop operations of commuter lines. Maybe the original place has a tram one and they've kept that in. Unless we're getting Tram SimWorld. I'm just making it up now. You know, put that out there. Get the rumours going. Further out is the main loop built to allow up to 300 kilometers an hour operation for capable rolling stock. Going through the tunnel. 300 kilometers. While we have strict rules about discussing desires, dreams and aspirations, the training centre for TSW3 has been designed with expansion very much in mind. Though nothing is confirmed yet, the preservation crew look forward very much to working on projects and ideas currently proposed for future expansion. ICE 375, 395, the BNSF, ICE 1, Class 66. Look at this there. So, immersion. So, I don't know what's going to happen here because these are just the trains that come with the routes. Maybe if you have more routes, more DLCs, maybe those trains appear as well. I don't know, but having a look at those trains in there does look good, doesn't it? Anyway, audio. Immersion is nothing without audio. They've made special effort within Train Sim World to ensure that we'll have a great experience, using some help from friends and partners within the community. The world of audio in any video game is just as important as the visuals. So without it, you don't have a video game. Now that's quite an opening statement, but if you really think about it, you know it's true. Here at Dovetail, they're always trying to ensure that they deliver the best audio experience. That's why TSW3 has been a monumental effort by the audio team to try and level up the audio experience. First off, start with the routes themselves and the improvements and upgrades. Castle Versberg, they've been lucky to have the expert experience of Malik Goltz with the ICE1 audio. He's already been involved in the setup and simulation of this particular loco too, so it was a great fit. On the rest of the route, integrated the same spoken word alert system onto the tracks locos that can be found on IC3 and 1, as well as addressing a few bugs from previous versions. So below is what they call a spectrograph, visually showing the audio journey players will experience. The sound of the door alarms playing and doors closing. The line at the end of those alarms is the door slamming shut. Oh, okay, so it's actually showing us. A. B is the start of the fan spooling up. C, the train begins to move. D, where the fans start to spool down as it reaches its set AFB AFB speed. Southeastern High Speed has probably had one of the bigger upgrades, as they have upgraded the 375 audio to match the same audio that was introduced in the 377 Brighton Main Line for London Commuter. I love how they've called it Brighton Main Line DLC. Brighton Main Line, London Commuter, both the same. Made improvements to the 395 audio. Replaced the 66 audio completely, thanks to Armstrong Powerhouse. Nice. Love Armstrong Powerhouse's sounds. So brand new 66 audio with Armstrong Powerhouse make it sound even more realistic. And I have heard, who was it? I think it was Dadrail said that the 66 sound does sound even more realistic because he's a 66 driver, isn't he? Again, with the help of Armstrong Powerhouse, they've updated the wagon sounds for UK freight, so it now distinguishes them from other freight wagon sounds. It could have been so easy to just leave the locos as they were, spend time elsewhere, but no, it's important, isn't it? And they've made as many improvements as they could. Cajon Pass, brand new loco, the ES44C4, a new sound set, but they had recordings. They were fortunate to have recordings of an ES44 Prime Mover, so they're able to get those in, make sure they had good footing. The other important element was the horn, and as always, they were able to rely on their US locomotive horn collector enthusiast Jim Liskey to provide the recording needed for that. As always, plenty of support from the Discord beta community, who have provided advice, resources and pointers where needed. Other new features they've had is to add audio to passenger umbrellas. So as you walk past passengers with their umbrellas up, you'll hear the rain falling on the umbrella. Small detail, but something that just might catch our attention. And finally, there's one area that has had a facelift, not visually, but also audibly, and that is the UI. The UI for the main screens has a new background track. Created by a member of the Dovetail community team, Benjamin Simmons. It incorporates some subtle musical elements, keeping the focus on ambience and weather to really go with the changing weather in Train Sim World 3. And not only have they changed the background track, they've changed the UI sounds to give them a fresh, new feel. And that audio does sound good. It's very subtle in the background, but when you listen to it, it is so calming and so nice. So this is the world of audio. They're incredibly proud what the team have been able to produce over the last few months. Now it's over to us the players, to enjoy the experience. Visual effects, snow and kick-up effects. So in Train Sim World 2, the world looked great if it was either no snow or full of snow, but there was room for improvement for variable snow. So applying different parts of the game at different rates, different effects. There was an unbalanced scene at times. But they've come up with a completely new system for managing how the snow is applied. Weather mix and material function. Every material in the game now uses this and ensures that snow is applied evenly and consistently throughout everything you see. And it gets whiter when the snow continues to fall. We wanted to give snow a little more impact on the world, called vertex displacement. So as the snow falls, it doesn't just go white, but it looks like snow piling up a bit as well. And you'll see the sleepers disappear in heavy snow, for example. So we can see there's no sleepers there. We see the sleepers here, and it's building up and up and up. Now, with this point here, we did get to see, as ambassadors, we did get to see the snow falling. Now, in the beta versions and the ones that they were working on, Matt was able to speed up the snow. So it's very subtle, so you don't really see it. But he sped it up by 100 or whatever it was, 1,000. So it built up quicker, but it looks so cool, just filling up to go from that to that. Character art. They've tried to add in lots of touches to improve our gameplay, and that's no different to how they've approached the NPCs. So after reviewing the current state of characters, they decided on 3 key areas: skin tone, hair, materials. So they wanted to have every character have consistency between each other, make them feel like they belong to the same world. But as you can see, there's a TSW2 guy and there's a TSW3. Look at the difference. Look at that. It's like looking at FIFA 98 and FIFA 2022, kind of thing. So when looking at hair, they wanted to use what they learned from other projects to improve the materials in modelling, add that extra layer of immersion. So they started from scratch using a modern car placement approach to layer cards in the way that they could get depth and focus. Creating new material behaves more accurately how real life hair does. And as you can see, look, there's the hair that we've got in TSW2, and that's TSW3. Look at that, and look at the wrinkles as well, even better wrinkles. And look at his eyes. Maybe his eyes are not on there because it's a model, but yeah, look at the detail in his neck as well, in his mouth and the eyes and the hair. Materials was another important one. Clothing items. Important to try and improve all the clothing textures and materials. To try to achieve more realistic material reads was important. As you can see from these pictures, look at that. It does look very PC game look, but look at that, it looks more realistic. Same woman, different hairstyle, but look at that coat. And even just the Train Sim World 2 Rush Hour NPCs, the people were better than the previous ones, but it's total difference there. It looks even better now. So features included in Train Sim World 2, Train Sim World compatible add-ons, So they can confirm that of these new features tonight, dynamic weather will be available. The remaining features listed above will only be available in Train Sim World 3. So we've got dynamic weather as best they can do. but all the other stuff that we've mentioned will be in TSW3 routes game only. So that would be Kassel, Cajon, Southeastern, and Spirit of Steam update. Yeah. Anyway, that ends the first roadmap of Trains to the World 3. Go grab a cuppa. It's too hot for a cup of tea. I know I love cup of tea, but I haven't had one today. I had a Ribena. That was nice. We are excited. I'm excited. Are you excited? Leave a comment down below because I'm looking forward to seeing more of Trains to the World 3. There is a stream tonight at 8 o'clock with Matt and JD where they'll be talking a little bit more of the roadmap, but there will be a stream next week with a proper Q&A. So if you do have any questions, let Dovetail know and they will try and answer them next week. Thank you so much for watching this video. Do not forget to give it a like. It would be really helpful. And subscribe if you haven't already. Social media links are in the description below. And we will see you on the next video. This is Mega Sim out of here. See you soon, guys. Bye.